most dominant driver so far in this category. As you can see here, he's on pole position for race 3 today. Paul Stokel, Gary Young out of 2, Nathan Gear, Andrew Mill, former Formula 3 driver, and it's only second mini challenge. Grant Denyer has worked his way through from the back of the grid from race 1. Scott Bargwanna, the cousin, and Nathan Karate.
Nathan Callahan there, Chris Alajarjan. He apparently yesterday had some sort of engine management problem, so he was actually fighting a little bit further up than that. Look back through Grant Dillman, Sammy Newman, still there, car in one piece, he'll be happy. Barry Nesbitt.
John Modesta, Helen Lindner, the only female driver in the field, and Tony Alford.
Tony Alford back there. Gee, they get some racing in during a year. They're always in something, whether it's at Spa and Nürburgring, 24-hour races, green flag waving, ready for a start.
There's no warm-up lap here. Tyres will be cool into turn 1. Watch Stokel, and also keep an eye on Chris Alajarjan. He starts out at 10. He had great pace yesterday, but had technical issues while running 4th. Stokel gets a nice jump.
Yeah, good start off the outside line. He's away nice and neat, pulled a small gap into 1. Oh,
it's contact in 1.
Now that's Karate. Karate's been turned around, luckily avoided by everybody. 1 more to go by him, but yeah, just a wee knock in the rear, turned him around. Now, I spoke with Paul Stokel earlier. He's going to have a little bit of an advantage for the first couple of laps because he's one of the guys that actually saved tyres. He has 2 green tyres, which when I say green tyres, that's brand new, straight onto the car, and you can see already it's like a qualifying lap for them. They're in the zone already. And
they've got to juggle that over the weekend as well. As you mentioned, they get 6 new tyres allocated for the weekend, so you've really got to decide at what race you're going to use them. They seem a little bit loose there early laps as they didn't get a warm-up lap.
That's just the rear tyre temperature a little bit, but to give you an idea of the tyre plan or strategies for some of them, Denyer, for instance, he's only got 1 new tyre left. He's put it on the left front tyre or wheel. Much more important to have them on the front of these cars because that's the drive tyre. That's the tyre that will give you good time. And there's a car slowing there.
I wonder if it's Denyer because he started out of 5 and looked like he was a little further back in the field.
Yeah, he's certainly dropped back in the opening lap. I don't know whether he's lost the start. He's coming back now. It looks like he doesn't have any mechanical issues, but he had good speed yesterday. He had, you know, some really good battles going on, and I'm actually doing the Nürburgring 24-hour race with him. So another guy, he's doing a lot of miles. He's racing the development series. He's doing the minis, and now looking at the endurance. Young Dillman up the inside. That's a nice clean pass.
You talk about the left-hand front of the side of the car, and I guess some people at home that don't follow racing all the time would say, well, why the left side? And that's generally the working side of the car around this circuit. Yeah, look, it's a clockwise circuit, so the outside tyre, the loaded tyre is always going to be working. So, look, perfect world, as we can see by Paul Stokel. He's pulled a gap, and a big gap in the first lap just because of the 2 tyres on the front. But, you know, the green tyre is going to be a big advantage for the first 2 or 3 laps, but then it'll all settle down and that advantage will go away. Well, it's Stokel and Gary Young in second. Both these drivers, also Nathan Gear, have been very competitive. Race 2 yesterday. Just to give you a bit of an idea, Gary Young won race 2 yesterday from Paul Stokel, Nathan Gear, Andrew Mill and Grant Denyer. Yeah, Gary Young did a fantastic job yesterday. Had good speed. Some people might say reverse grid, whatever, but he actually pulled a gap on the whole field, and he's done a fair bit of racing in the past. He's reasonably experienced in these cars. He won the over 35s last year, and got a background with GT Performance, V8 Utes. So you know, he's no newcomer to the sport, but you know, it's always hard to hop in different cars and be as competitive as what he's been. Said at the start that Chris Alajarjan, keep an eye on him. He's running in 6th at the moment. It's going to be difficult for him. You see him just at the back of this group here to make up that ground to Stokel at the front. Former A1 GP driver, drove for Lebanon at the time. This is a restart here. I'm just interested to see what Denyer, yeah, because he did lose spots, but it must have been when Karate got caught up.
the bright yellow car there. They must have come together. He's lost a spot up the inside there. That's it. 4 into 1. Don't go.
Daniel got sandwiched there in the middle of karate.
Gee, young Karate was lucky not to actually get driven into there. He's right in the middle of the pack, turns it round, faces everyone, and everyone, fantastic job to avoid him.
Great little cars. They use a bit of AstroTurf there out of the turn. Some of these drivers in this category for 2009 are new to the Mini Challenge. They have, as Craig mentioned, some past experience in different categories, whether it be V8 supercars, GT class, and some endurance racing. And you can get into this category for about $88,000. There's a minimum weight for the category also, 1,210 kilos with the driver, and they're producing about 211 horsepower.
Scott Bargwanna looking really racy here. He's moved forward a couple of positions and you know, really putting a charge on gear.
As I mentioned, he is the cousin of Jason Bargwanna, who drives for the V8 Sprint Gas racing team. Back through the field. Well, welcome back to the Formula One ING Australian Grand Prix at Albert Park. And the category we have on screen right now is the Mini Challenge. And the leader is Paul Stokel, and his teammate is Grant Denyer. Grant Denyer started this race in 5th position and has dropped back from an incident in turn 1. He's now dropped back to 16th. And if you're a local and a Geelong supporter, well, this weekend we've got an ex-Geelong AFL legend, Sam Newman, and Sam now currently sits in 12th position, which is a pretty good result for Sam, Craig.
It's actually a very good result. You know, he's had no practice in the car. He's come out here, he's jumped into it and jumped into sort of the celebrity car and taken it by the horns. And as he said, he actually really wanted to complete all 3 races. And I don't want to put a commentator's curse on him, but he's sitting there in 12th place. He's in mid-pack. He's done a good job. And that's a great pass there. So young Scott Bargwanna, he's been lining that up for about 3 laps. He's been looking up the inside, and he's finally got past Nathan Gear.
Kenny closed the gap now. Scott Bargwanna. The next car that he has in his sights will be Gary Young. Stokel's just got a bit of a gap on the field now. Nearly 3 seconds. There he is there on the screen. It's going to be a good little battle here. Yeah, this is a great battle. It's been going on for 4 or 5 laps now, but I'd be interested to know what's up with Grant Denyer's car. Do you think he could have maybe bent the steering, because he did get sandwiched in 1 there? Look, he had some reasonable car speed. He lost a little bit of time in lap 1, but then he had some good speed midway through, sort of, and now he's just dropped away. So, you know, he could have any sort of problems. We have heard of them going into this ECU limp mode or something. You know, who knows? But he's certainly he's well off the time mark now. That last lap, he's 20 seconds down. So, gee, that's a good battle going on there. Now we're going to get into some slipstreaming. Scott Bargwanna using all the circuit. What do they like to drive now? You know, on lap 5 of 8, they're on a controlled Dunlop tyre. They're front-wheel drive. They've got ABS. You know, they've got a lot of grip with a slick tyre. What do they like now? You can really hear those tyres protesting. You really can, but look, they generate a lot of grip out of a small tyre, and look, because they don't have a lot of horsepower, the tyre doesn't generally drop away. A bit of a defensive driving there. We'll move lines, use the inside-outside middle. But look, we all do it at times. Sometimes you get a bad run off, say, turn 12, and you got all the way down to 13. You're driving in your mirror, and look, that's part of race. That's part of racing. This is maybe getting a little bit too defensive. He needs to. Sometimes you get in a little bit frustrated. You start driving in your mirror and it all tightens up on you. You need to sort of turn the mirror around for a lap or so, put your head down and get moving on. And especially in this category, like you said, with limited horsepower, if you start becoming too defensive, you lose your momentum and your corner speed that you want to carry, and you find yourself all of a sudden being swarmed. In this situation, Scott Bargwanna being swarmed by Andrew Miller and Nathan Gear.